Hey everyone, welcome to Threat Hunting with Molly, where if it doesn't keep you up at night or scare you a little, it's probably not worth hunting for. Today we're going to look at Trickbot. We're going to look at one of its JavaScript loaders. We're going to take a look at the PCAPs and some sysmon logs so that you can find it and help stop it. And we're going to pay homage to Nancy Wake. We're going to hunt today in her honor. In World War II, she was a journalist, part of the French Resistance, an intelligence officer. She helped stop it, codenamed White Mouse. Maybe today there's not a lot I can do in our particular world circumstance to make it better, but we can learn how to find this malware and make it all a little safer. So let's be like Nancy Wake. Let's go stop some baddies. What do we know? Commodity banking Trojan, remote access, ever-expanding capabilities, very quiet. Malwarebytes 2020 malware report showed a 50% increase in detections from last year. Detections. When I ran this in my lab, even the savviest user wouldn't have noticed anything happen. How does it get there? Phishing, documents, secondary infections. Iced ID likes to drop it. It has casual relationships with Emotet. SMB lateral movements. I've even seen it hide in recycle bins as it moved laterally, just so it wouldn't be detected. All right, here for the quick hunt. WScript did the heavy lifting, reaching out to rare IP addresses, and also we saw suspicious DNS reverse IP lookups. The IOCs for this one, that IP address, that domain, and that's the hash value of the script. Happy hunting. All right, the rest of us, let's dig in. And let's dig in with Wireshark to get started. The PCAP didn't have a whole lot. We were only looking at the original JavaScript kind of loader to get everything started. There was one malicious certificate and some malicious DNS lookups. The DNS lookups are right there. Reverse pointers. If you've never worked with reverse pointers, it's always fun to kind of see that they actually do put the IP address in reverse. And that's what it resolved to. That was the pointer address. As for the malicious certificate, we can see down here some of its properties. A lot of it's very vague. No country name at all. That might be anomalous. Blah, 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 blah. Common name is interesting. Common name and email address are kind of the same. So that stands out. If you have certificate visibility, take a look for these properties. If you can hash your certificates and look for them, malware often reuses them because they can be a little bit more difficult to create. All right, so there's our PCAP. Let's move on to some logs. So, some of the more interesting things in the sysmon logs involve this right here. So the parent, I kick this off with WScript, okay, which is how it would also kick off if it was malicious. Now, in this case, this is the parent command line, and we can see the main command line uses regserver32, okay, and it's running a text file out of app data local temp. Yeah, that's a good hunt. That's solid. Might not always be Trickbot, but there is a really good chance you're dealing with a JavaScript Trojan. So remember that one. Okay. regserver32 because it bypasses a lot of app locker controls. So that's a good one. Some more interesting things that stood out a bit, if you have the visibility, is this one right here. WScript is loading a Windows Defender DLL. Why? Probably to disable it. Earlier versions of Trickbot would do this in a more clumsy manner, running a PowerShell script for set preference and disabling real-time monitoring. Looks like they got a little smarter and a little quieter. All right, we've got some more Reg Server 32 activity. This one using Scroib DLL. That is also an app locker bypass. It can also be used for other things, but I didn't see that here. All right, and this was the initial command. Now, we'd love to see some network activity. And I think we are just about to. Oh, before we get to network, I almost forgot this one, a little persistence for you. We've got some scheduled tasks, COM IDs. All right. We've also, moving on. Here we go. Here's our traffic. We've got WScript, HTTPS, and there's our malicious IP address. So these are great hunts right here. You could look for Reg Server 32 app data local, WScript making HTTPS connections to rare IP addresses. If you have the visibility, look for Defender DLLs being loaded by WScript. All pretty strange stuff. You might be wondering, what did this JavaScript file actually look like? Well, let's take a look. Firm believer that if you don't see bad, you're not going to know what it looks like when you need to. So, originally, it is this gigantic frickin' mess. As someone I work with likes to say, are your eyes bleeding yet? Could you actually deobfuscate all this? Oh my gosh, I'm sure you can. But let's take a shortcut because, right, easier is so much better than harder. Now, let's say you are, oh, there's my slide. Now we want to look at something else. We are going to hop over to, yeah, there we go. CyberChef. So, 2 commands, JavaScript Beautify and Unique. And when you kick those 2 together, you end up with this. Still messy, still hard to look at, but now we can actually learn something. It runs ActiveX. That is useful. That's how it's running WScript. So could this be in a web page? Yeah, you bet, right? If ActiveX can be used. We've got char code, and we also have a little bit of decoding, right? It's char code, but you have to subtract 104 from it in order to get it, right? So it's kind of fun. You could definitely take a look at that. So, all right. So that is what it looked like. A possible hunt? All right. This is going to seem a little rambly, but there's good stuff here. WScript, schedule tasks by COM APIs, HTTPS to rare IP addresses, all around WScript. That's going to be strange. And this whole thing executed, oh my gosh, look at the time signatures. Maybe it took 30 seconds, maybe on a really slow machine. Now, this might not always be Trickbot. But I guarantee you, if you see this activity, there's a really good chance you were looking at a JavaScript Trojan, which you want to catch anyways. MITRE. All right, let's take a look at what we saw. Indirect execution, WScript. Side loading, there are those Windows Defender DLLs. Does your company use Windows Defender? Might be a great hunt if they don't. Reg Server 32 activity, especially involving app data local, is always worth your time. You might be wondering, why does malware use it so often? Because it can write there without having elevated privileges, right? It's easy. It doesn't have to elevate there to get something to roll. You could look for COM APIs for Task Scheduler. That takes a little deeper visibility depending on the product, or Sysmon. All right, so that pretty much wraps us up on Trickbot JavaScript. Thank you for watching. Again, we can find these and we can stop them. Take your time. Watch these videos, watch other videos, find out what bad looks like. Because just like Nancy Wake, each one of us, we can make a difference. And I don't care if you work for a company. I don't care if you're a researcher. I don't care if you're 12 years old and you're hanging out at your laptop. Install Sysmon. You can start hunting. Thank you so much. I hope you tune into the next one, friends. And please be safe.